Hello and welcome to my November wrap-up. The first book I read this month was How Huge the Night by Heather and Lydia Munn. This is a historical novel set in France in 1939 and 1940. It is about 15-year-old Julian and how he kind of sees the world in this time leading up to the start of the Second World War. He and his family takes in a boy called Benjamin, who's the same age as Julian. He is born in Germany and he's Jew, but he's lived in France almost his entire life. And his parents kind of send him to the south of France to get him as far away from the Germans as possible. And this kind of sets a whole thing in motion because he's living with Julian's family and they go to school together, and it seems kind of hard for Julian to understand how Benjamin feels. On the sideline we follow Nina and Gustav, who are from Austria and they are Jews as well. Their father dies and he has commanded them to get out of Austria and go to France. And kind of through this whole novel we kind of figure that they cross paths, but it's very late in the book that they cross paths. And it's just really fascinating to see how the beginning of World War II was for people, and a lot of the book is based on real facts and real people who lived during that time. So I really enjoyed it. I thought it was very well written. Some of the things that the teenagers say sometimes feel a bit too modern, but I really enjoyed the book. After that I read The Dinosaur That Pooped the Bed by Tom Fletcher and Dougie Pointer, and this is a children's book, the fourth in the Dinosaur Pooped series, and I really enjoyed it. It's very fun. After that I read Spotless by Camilla Monk, and this is an amazing book and I really love it and urge you to read it. I got this one for free from the author in exchange for an honest review, so I have a review down below in the description. I will link to it, and I just really loved it. It's a mix of a lot of genres like crime and thriller and comedy and romance, and it sounds like a weird mix, but it really works because a lot of the humor is sarcasm based, and that's just my cup of tea, so I really enjoyed it. But it's about Island, who gets home and someone is in her apartment, and it's a hitman called Marge, and he is convinced that she has a diamond or knows where it is, so he kind of takes her on this diamond hunt, and bad people are after them. Well, people who are more bad than the hitman, and it's just very funny and very well written out, both the plot and also just the writing style in general. After that I read the Infernal Devices trilogy manga by Cassandra Clare, and I'm gonna butcher the name again, Hui Kong Baik. I'm so sorry, but I read these, and these are the mangas, and you can probably not see anything here, but I made a review, well, kind of a short review of the manga styles, not the books per se, but more like the manga style of it, and I showed the art style in great detail, so I'll link that down below as well. And I really enjoyed these, and they got a lot of the story into these mangas, more than I expected, because I actually expected a lot of it to be kind of cut out because they would be too long otherwise, but they got so much into these, and I'm so happy that I bought these. After that I read the book That Transforms Nations by Lauren Cunningham. I actually read it in Danish. This is the English version, and it's because this is not my copy actually. I read it in Danish because I got the opportunity to edit the book before it's being printed, so all the grammar stuff and just does it make sense what has been translated, and that was just kind of a huge deal to me. This is a book about how the Bible has changed not only people but countries in general. A good example of this is Norway. Before, a lot of the people were Christians. The economy was very bad in Norway, and then a whole bunch of people became Christians and turned to God, and now Norway is one of the richest countries in this world. And I just thought that this whole book was very interesting. Lauren Cunningham, the author, he is the founder of Youth with a Mission, and he's been a missionary and traveled the world for more than 50 years. And a lot of the stories in this book is things that he's experienced whilst traveling, and also stories that he's been told from other people, and there are a lot of examples from all over the world. The next book I read is Nightmares, the Sleepwalker Tonic by Jason Segel and Kirsten Miller, and I absolutely love this book. This is a sequel to Nightmares, and this follows Charlie about 6 months after the first book, and these things happen where a lot of people have nightmares, so they drink this tonic, and it's supposed to stop them from having nightmares, but it stops them from dreaming altogether, and that in turn kind of make them zombie-like. And Charlie and his friends and family has to figure out what's going on, and I really enjoyed it. It's just a fun middle grade novel. Last but not least, I read In My Darkest Hours by Eva Lucia. This is a poetry collection, and it's actually the first poetry collection I've ever read. It has about 20 to 30 poems, and some of them I felt like kind of a strong connection to, and they really touched me, and others I didn't as much, and it was kind of a fun thing for me to read because I haven't read any poetry collections, and I really enjoyed it. The poetry collection is really dark and kind of depressing and sad, but what would you expect with a name called In My Darkest Hours? But it was really interesting to read. So those were all the books I read this month. I really hope you enjoyed this wrap up. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe, and hopefully I'll see you next time. Bye bye.